Hello, welcome back. So today I'm continuing my series in supplemental education and how it can be beneficial to everyone. And I want to talk about camp. Yeah, I can already hear some people on the other side of the screen going, camp, but hold on. Hold up. Camps aren't all tents or starting fires or going swimming in the lakes or oceans. We'll get to it. And it's not all band camp either. Don't worry. We'll get there. And it's beneficial for just about everyone. I promise. We'll get there. So I know a lot of people only really think about either woodsy camps, sports camps, or band camps. Right? Those are the most commonly thought of camps out there, besides the bad camps. We're not talking about those. We're talking about good camps. Like the first three that were mentioned. There's a lot of camp types out there. Personally, I have been to some of the traditional ones. The build a tent, start a fire out of kindling from the woods. I've done basketball and baseball day camps. I've also been to computer programming camps. I've been to one day full day camps where we built basic radios from scratch. I've been to art camp. I've been to acting camp. And I've seen camps for various sciences out and about. I've seen camps for various religions. I've seen writing camps. You name it, there's a camp for it. Just about any interest you can think of, there is some kind of a day camp or day program for it. These are camps that are often planned to try and work for kids in local school districts, local school systems, which means they often have their scheduling will coincide with not only local school public schools, but also a lot of local private schools have their schedules set up similarly, and they all work with and line up with these camps, and they all work and can all go to these camps too. So the scheduling usually works out. Not always, but usually. A benefit to these, though, is that many of them, no one has, from my experience, no one talks about their usual schools when they go. Like, when you go to one of these as a kid, no one talks about their schooling. Like, when you go, you're not like, hey, I go to this school or that school. Like, you're just like, hey, I'm a kid. Here's the things I like. Who are you? This means it's a place where kids can make friends from across districts. Kids can make friends with who are in public school, can make friends with kids in private school. Kids who are homeschooled can make friends with kids who are private in school. Not traditional, public school or private school. And consequently, they can all make friends with each other, and no one really thinks about where the other people are educated because it doesn't matter, which is awesome. It levels that. It removes that bias, and it's great because it doesn't need to be there in the first place. Also, they're worth looking into for individuals who have various, uh, situations that might make them prone to fixations. Individuals like me who have autism or other things that might set us apart in public schools or other school systems or settings, they're great because when you go to these camps, no one notices. You're not noticed as much. You don't stand out because everybody likes the thing. So you're not noticed for liking the thing because everybody does. You're all at baseball camp. No one's going to be like, oh, you like baseball? Wow, that's weird. I mean, not that people do that anyway, but you get the example there. Or you go to computer camp. No one's like, oh, you're a computer nerd? Huh, weird. Because they're all computer nerds. Or almost everybody is. Not necessarily everybody. And you all have a connected common interest, and it's something you can start talking about, even if you don't end up becoming friends. There's a shared topic of conversation, and it's a lot easier to connect with other people regardless of whether or not you've got something that going on for you that might set you apart in a public school system or some other setting. That disappears like it would if you were working in a shared environment. Like if I was working in engineering facility and we all had a shared engineering passion or a shared research passion, that disappears because we have that shared passion. It doesn't necessarily mean that you make friends, but you have a shared topic of conversation and it brings barriers down drastically, and that is great for socializing and helping and enabling people and building that confidence. And it's awesome. So I recommend it for families of who have kids who have fixations, to find those fixations, to find those camps, if possible. It can be hard, and it can be hard to get kids to go. I know. I struggled some days in some camps to go. So that is a thing. I recognize that. But wait, there's more. There's more. These camp situations and their benefits don't stop with people who are under 18. They have them for adults too. Sure, you can take a class at a local community college, but a lot of towns, cities, and regions also have like DCF classes, courses, and the like that can be single session or multi-session like a camp. And just like the kiddos, they have equally or even more varied topics. And when you're there, you've got a shared interest. You want to make friends, going to one of these can be a great way to have a shared topic of conversation for starting to try and make friends on a topic. If there's something you like, going to one of these, if you're struggling to find a club or you don't want to go to a club and you want to all go to something where it's your all starting day one somewhere, go to one of these if you can. So that brings me to the downside. Consequently. And there is a downside. And it's a very common downside in today's society with many things. And that is that there's a cost, often. Not always. There's not always a cost with these things. With everything, including these kinds of camps and stuff. However, there is often a cost with these kinds of day camps or day programs or even nighttime programs or whenever they happen to take place. It often takes money to afford space, to afford knowledge, to afford team members, to afford people who make sure that the experience flows smoothly, to afford, sometimes some of these places have supportive individuals to support people who might have particular needs, and to make sure that they have access to those things. It often costs money so that those people can pay their bills, or the places that own the space can pay their electricity or their heating or their taxes, etc. And so often that cost comes down on the individuals or families that want to participate in these classes or these camps or whatever you want to call them. So understandably, that is a downside because money is often tight and it's not as plentiful as we'd like it to be. It's seldom plentiful as we like it to be. I don't know anyone who says they have as much sitting around for retirement or for this thing or for that thing, like this kind of thing, this camp, to do these kinds of things. So that is a downside. And that is, however, the only downside that I could think of. So, with the topic today, in this supplemental educational series on camps, we've talked about they cover almost every topic. They bridge schooling types. They support individuals. They can support individuals with varied needs. They can help individuals who have fixations that might set them apart in public school systems or private school systems, but they would blend in these settings. They support, in other words, they support socialization. There's an equivalent form for adults too, and they have the downside of having a cost, which varies. So personally, I was blessed to have a lot of cool learning experiences as a kid that supported my interest, though part of this was because my parents both worked full-time, long hours, year-round. But that's just me. What about you? Do you have any experiences or opinions on camps, no matter the kind of camp, or workshops, or the like? please let everyone know down in the comments. I'd love to hear more about it. I'd love to have more of a conversation going. If you enjoyed this video or got something out of it, please share it with others and then give this video a great thumbs up to really help the algorithm and help me. And finally, hit subscribe to stay up to date with more content like this. Before we go, though, I want to thank you for watching and to let you know that I'm glad that you're here. Not just here watching, I'm glad you're alive. Really. I'm glad you exist. You are loved. And I just really wanted to make sure that you knew that, and that if you already knew it, that you remembered that. All right? I'll see you next time.